A thing that is still very much requested is to show PDF files in your Xamarin.Forms application. This is a little library that does something with downloading and showing PDFs. So let's go check it out and see if it fits your needs. So I thought for this video, let's first check out the repository that holds all the code for this actual library. So this is put together by official Daniel. I think his name is Benz. So thank you for putting this together. I think on his repository, there's a couple of other cool things for Xamarin.Forms. So be sure to check that out as well. So the first folder here is a sample app. So you can see how to use the actual code, how to run the thing in your Xamarin.Forms application. And the second folder here is the actual code for the library. So what this library does is it allows you to download a PDF file and open that in either like in-app. So inside of the app, it will show a preview, or you can let it choose the app. So, some external app that can open PDF files. Now, having that said, there is a little note about that because it doesn't really work that way on all the platforms. And with all the platforms, I mean Android and iOS. There is a UWP source file in here, but I don't think it's implemented. So if we look at like the Apple code here, which is noted with the .apple.cs, we can see that this is the method basically that is being invoked. And to specify if we want to open the PDF inside of the app or with an external app, you can use this last parameter here, the PDF open context. Now, you can see this context, if I do a search for it, it's never used in this code at all. So iOS ignores this parameter and it just shows it always in the app because iOS has a way to preview PDF files inside of the app. So it will just pop a new view controller and it will show that PDF. So that is pretty convenient, nothing going on there. So for Android, it's a little bit different. And for Android, it looks at that actual parameter. So here we see the context and you can see it highlighted here. This is a different context that we can see here, but here more down to the bottom, you can see switch context. So for in-app, it will start the activity. So it will see if it can start an actual activity with this intent that is created here to show the PDF. And whenever we do choose app, it will launch an activity with the intent create chooser. So here you will get like that little pop-up dialog on Android. Whenever you have not specified a default app for showing a certain file, it will come up with that little dialog and you can show an app or you can pick an app that shows you this PDF. But I think for this start activity, this first one, unless I'm mistaken on my Android native knowledge here, is that it will still launch this PDF in an external file because Android doesn't have a built-in way to show PDF files. So it will still launch the app, another app to show the PDF file, but it will just, take the first one or the default one that it can find, while the choose app, you can choose the actual app that you're going to launch it with. So it's not entirely in-app something that you can do. It's not something that you can do on Android, and you cannot really choose an app on iOS. So keep that in mind. But still, this is a pretty cool solution for the people who are trying to show PDF files in their Xamarin.Forms application. So enough talking about this. Actually, let's really quickly check what the status of UWP is. So here we go. It threw a not implemented exception until a while ago, but now it's just returning an empty task. So this doesn't work. If you are an expert on UWP and you want to contribute to open source software, this is your chance right here. For now, let's have a look how to integrate this in your Xamarin.Forms application. So to integrate this, as always, we have a little sample app, which is just a file new Xamarin.Forms application running on Visual Studio for Mac here on the left. You can see it running on a iOS simulator on the right. Whenever we make some changes with hot reload, we can do this automatically. So as long as we stick to changes in Xabel, I can just say here PDF showing sample, save that, and it should automatically come up in our sample app. So that is pretty cool. Now, I'm going to remove all the labels here. I don't need them. And the only thing I'm going to add here is a button with a clicked handler. Let's just create a new one. And the text is going to be, just do PDF things. There we go. close that one, and we have a button, do PDF things. Doesn't do anything yet, but we'll get to that. Now, of course, another thing that we need to do is actually install that NuGet package, because the library that I've just shown is available on NuGet. So we need to put that in here and to make it work. So let's just do that. Let's stop this project for now. Go into our Solution Explorer, right click on the solution level and do Manage NuGet Packages. So I know the name is Xamarin.Forms.Save.Open.PDF. Maybe it was the other way around. So here we go. Xamarin.Forms Save Open PDF package. It looks like the NuGet could use a little bit of work. This name could use a catchier one, maybe. I'm not criticizing here, but it's just something that I'm noticing. So latest table, let's just add it. And the way this works, we've just seen it in the source from this library. The way this works, it has an interface. I didn't really talk about that, but it has an interface. And we have an Android and an iOS implementation. So we need to install this on all of our projects. Actually, this uses like the dependency service. I have a video on that. It's popping up on your screen right now. So if you're interested in creating your own libraries or using that dependency service, this is how to do it. So let's just add that, wait until it gets added. Shouldn't take too long because it is a big package, I think. And whenever we have that, we can start digging into the code here. For Android, there is a little something extra that we need to do for the permissions. It is all described in the repository as well, so go check it out. And of course, I'll walk you through this in the video right here. So the package has installed. Let's go to our iOS project first. Well, we don't need to go there first, actually. For iOS, you don't need to set up any permissions whatsoever for this, so that is pretty cool. And let's just go to our shared project here, the main page and our code behind, and we have that button clicked handler. So let's check out the APIs that we have here, which is cross open save PDF, something like that. I don't know. No, it's not that. Okay, let's quickly switch back to the repository here and go back to our shared code. So here you can see that interface actually. And here we have the actual thing. So it's named cross Xamarin.Forms. Okay, it's this one. There we go. So like I said, the name maybe could use a little work. Let IntelliSense fix this. Right click, quick actions, and add the right using. So there we go. And it basically has a is supported method. So that is pretty cool. You can check if this package is supported on your platform. So if you do this on UWP, you might actually get the is supported, because I think the way is supported is implemented is it checks if it has an implementation. So, on UWP, you might get a false positive, but if you run this on anything else, then you are getting a false. And maybe you want to hide that do PDF things button, right? So if this is not supported, then you can just skip this functionality entirely. And for the platforms where it is supported, you can actually show the button. The way this works is also it has a static class property, or at least one instance. So we have like this cross Xamarin save open package.current, and on that current we can do the actual save and view. Now the save and view needs a couple of things. It needs a file name, and that file name is the one that's going to be saved on your disk, on your device. So you don't need to worry about it because it will remember it. But and probably to avoid name clashes, you want to do some random file name, maybe a GUID or something. For now, I'll just make it my file.pdf. Then the other thing is the content type. So this will typically be application/PDF, because that is the MIME type of a PDF file. So unless you have some very specific use case, this should be the MIME type for that, probably needed to invoke the code on Android and iOS. Then we need a stream. I'll get back to that. Let's just do a memory stream for that. This will be the actual stream which holds the contents of the file. And here is that PDF context. So again, on iOS, this is ignored. And on Android, it just means that it will open the default file or lets you choose an app. I think that is from reading the code, that's what it is. So let's just do the in-app for now. And close that thing. And we need to await this because it's a async method. And because of that, we also need to make this async. So here we go. Now, the one thing that we still need to do is get that stream. So I have created a PDF file on some hosted space that I have. So let's get a new HTTP client. Here we go. And actually do that with IntelliSense, and that HTTP client will get a actually do get stream async. Here we go, from a request URI, and I got that request URI is going to be gerald.slu.is/subscribe.pdf, and that should get a stream. Var stream is await. There we go. Now we should get a stream from this, but it specifically wanted a memory stream, I think, in this call. So we need to convert that to a memory stream. So this is basically how to download a file as well from, the big bad internet. And whenever you work with streams, you probably want to use usings, so all the memory things get cleaned up nicely. And here we're going to do memory stream is new. Memory stream. Also need to import the right using here. So let's close this and let the IntelliSense fix this again. System.io, very good. And now what I can do is say, okay, I want to stream copy to async, and I can copy the contents because this holds now the contents of my file into this memory stream. And it should now be copied over to this memory stream. So now all the contents are in this memory stream, and we can simply use this as a parameter here. Now, also you want to make this a using, and there's a lot of other things that you want to do with streams and copying and that kind of stuff. So maybe this is not the best way. Go check that out and learn about that. But this is demo code, so my purpose is to make it actually work. Okay, so let's see if we can run this on our iOS simulator first. Let's see how it behaves on iOS. So just clicking the debug button here, it's transporting it onto my iOS simulator, and it should come up any moment now. And so if we think back a little bit, this in-app choose app doesn't do anything on iOS. So what I'm expecting to see is just a in-app PDF previewer. So I push that do PDF things button, and you can see I get a view controller popping up, which has a PDF. So what happened is it downloaded the PDF from my URL here, did that stream magic, and now it is opening it through the plugin that we've installed. And so totally random. Subscribe to my videos on YouTube. Maybe that is something, you're watching some YouTube channel which you really like, and you might want to subscribe to that. So please do. And that is how it works on iOS. So, it's not very customizable, but it's just great that iOS has a way to show PDF files inside of your app. So if I do done, then boom, I'm back at my application and the user can continue. So that is pretty cool. Now, let's do the same for Android. I'm going to stop this and switch this over to set the starter project to Android. I am going to have to leave this full screen thing here and bring up the Android simulator. That should come up automatically. Emulator, I should say, for Android is an emulator. So here we go. Here we're getting it. Starting up. Here we go. The application is launched on my emulator, and we should see, because it's Xamarin.Forms, so we're going to see a very similar UI with the top bar and the button. And if I say do PDF things now, I think it's going to crash. That is cool, because I totally forgot the things that we needed to do on Android. So let's continue with this one, and it's going to crash and stop and do all the things. That is totally correct, because for Android we needed to do a couple of things, because we need permissions to actually save that file onto our storage. So let's go into our Android project, into the properties and into the Android manifest right here, and we are going to get those external storage things in here, read and write. There we go. But we need to do one other thing, and actually let's go back to the repository for this so we can see the instructions there. So here we are back at the repository, and I think it's on the main page in the README. So here we go in the Android manifest. Okay, so let's open these and this one. So here in our Android manifest file, I've added the read external storage and write external storage here on line 9 and 10, so that's good. But here inside our application, we need to do something as well, which is the file provider. So let's just copy this whole thing, and I'm going to put that here in my Visual Studio. So Android manifest, you can also right click, do open with and source code editor, then you can edit the actual source of this thing. So here we go. Put that inside of our application, but this is referring to what you can see here, this Android resource, so XML provider paths. So we need to create a inside our resources, we need to create a new folder, add new folder XML. So here we go, add, and then we need to create a file that is called provider paths. So new file. XML, there we go. I copied this name from here, so provider paths dot XML, new, here we go. So then we should have a new XML file, and let's go back to the browser and see what we should paste in here. So what we need to do here is get a paths node and say that the root is path dot, which is probably the running folder of our application sandbox thing. So back to Visual Studio, save that here. And we should be good to go. So double check if this thing has the right build action, because putting it here in this folder should automatically give it the Android resource build action. So, you know, it's picked up the right way and can be used inside of your Android application. So with that in place, I should be able to run it now again. So you can see whenever you don't have the permissions set up properly, you see that it crashes and you need to actually do this. So there we go. The application is coming back up. And now when I click that do PDF things button, then we should see that same PDF. You can see it goes to another app. So this is the emulator, which has just one app installed that can show PDFs. And it will show that actual same PDF. So that is pretty cool. You can even here see the file name. So it took the file name that I specified in the method. But it still opens another app while it says in app here, right? So that's the kind of thing that I mentioned earlier in the beginning, that, you know, you can say in app or you can say choose app, but whenever there's only one app installed, I think it will always still go to that default app. I'm not really sure. I didn't try out all the scenarios for Android. So, you know, this makes it easier for you to actually open those PDFs, but it's still very hard to get it really in app. But at least now you get a good overview of this library and how to use it. So as you maybe already understood from me talking about this throughout the video, I like this plugin. It takes a little bit of work out of your hands, which is fantastic. It downloads that PDF. It can show it in different ways, choosing the app or just, you know, in-app full page. It can show it in iOS. That is pretty great. That will already help a lot of people. But, you know, I think a lot of people are still looking for a component to actually show a PDF really within their app. I know there's one from Syncfusion, I think. Go check them out. They have a community license that you can use for free as long as you're, you know, not a $1 million company. So go check that out. Another solution is a blog post that I've linked. I'm not sure. It's been a while since I've looked at that blog post. So let me know in the comments if that is still something that works as a solution, which basically creates some kind of web view with JavaScript. So it's not ideal, but at least it works cross-platform and can show that PDF right from inside your application. Also, this episode is entirely for Atul Bagoria. I hope I said that well. He is the latest member that joined my membership here on YouTube. So you can join this YouTube channel as a member for, you know, I have 3 tiers set up, all with each of their own price and some perks that you get together with them. One of the perks is getting a shout out into my video. So here we are. Atul, thank you so much for supporting me. I'm glad that you're liking the content and keep watching, just like everyone else, of course. So thank you for watching this video. Please like it if you actually liked it. Subscribe to my channel if you want to see more and get notified immediately. And other than that, I hope I'll see you for the next video and keep coding.